I'm Dave Swift, and I review a new lifetime deal every day of the week. My reviews are comprehensive, but they're also a little bit long. So this is the Taco Truck Roundup, where I take my full-length reviews and condense them down into just a few minutes, as well as answer your viewer feedback. Let's get into it. Today's first deal is Legitt with 2 T's. Legitt is a document signing and contract management tool. It allows you to create proposals, contracts, and any other sales documents that you might need some signatures on, and it does so with AI assistance. There's a little AI bot that's built in, and it can help you get set up with your new documents. Now, I'll get into more of the document signing features in a moment, but one of the first things I discovered in my review of Legitt was that there's a full CRM built in. Kind of surprised to see this since it's billed as a document signing tool, and in fact, when I went under the hood a little bit, the CRM lacked some functionality. It didn't allow you to, say, move a card from one column to the next, kind of table stakes in my opinion, but it is marked as new inside of their GUI, so perhaps they're trying to shift focus a little bit and be more of a general business functionality tool. Not sure here, just speculating. Probably one of the features I found most interesting about Legitt was the fact that it has a blockchain-based smart contract option so that you can create a contract and actually have it go on the blockchain. I'm not very qualified to talk about the blockchain, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. And if you're interested in blockchain stuff, it might be a reason to check out Legitt. Overall for Legitt, I felt like the interface was just a little bit confusing. The editor wasn't great, so I recommend just uploading your documents and not relying on Legitt to actually go ahead and create them right inside of Legitt. And I did have one kind of show-stopping issue. It's something that's very small, but if you're an American, it's probably gonna make you think twice about considering this tool. It's the fact that the date format doesn't have any options. So it did everything in the day, month, year format, which I understand and we'll get into in the comments, makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. However, it doesn't help me if I'm working with another American client and it says the date is 1/10/24. 100% of those clients are going to think it is January 10th and not October 1st. So that is a real deal breaker. So let's get into the comments and I'll come back with my final score. So to elaborate on the date issue, Jason Stetson Official mentions here, the reason why writing the day, month, and year makes sense is because it follows a logical progression from the smallest unit of time to the largest unit of time. So days up to years. Yes, I totally agree. But there is that issue that I just mentioned in terms of Americans will not be able to follow this. Obi Brown chimes in and agrees with me. It's true, but Americans won't get it. He's been in the US for 2 years. He personally prefers year, month, day, so reverse order. And my final comment on this is that all they got to do is add in the option to choose whichever format you prefer, and then this problem goes away. But it doesn't exist right now. So for me, I gave Legitt a 5.2 out of 10, not just because of the date picker, but just the overall experience was not up to what I needed. It also seemed like it was more focused on medium to larger businesses rather than, smaller freelancers or small businesses, which is kind of my bread and butter. The next tool of the week is GoZen Forms. This is another AI-powered tool, but this time instead of signatures, we are building forms. This tool will allow you to create forms, surveys, and quizzes with AI assistance. Essentially, you can just type in the type of form you want, and then it will output the form with questions already created. Overall, I liked the Zen interface of GoZen Forms. I also really enjoyed the extensive library of templates. I thought it was very impressive. I think they have over 100 different templates. That is very useful when you're getting started. Of course, you can use AI to have it create a form for you, but it's always nice to see maybe a already time-tested or proven method for asking questions inside of a form. I also really like the visualization for conditional logic. So if you wanted to have the answer of one question determine the next question that was asked, there's a very nice flow chart that is shown so that you can really understand exactly where the form is going to go next, depending on the answers that are given. I did encounter some issues with GoZen Forms, such as when I was filling out the form, I had some issues just entering in like the phone number. It didn't seem to want to keep the country code. Going backwards, it would switch from US to Canada. I also had an issue where I went to, say, a country selector or a state selector, and then the dropdown just didn't appear. So that was on a template. I would expect that to be a fully fleshed out and ready to go form. I'm sure there's a way that I can work around it, but I would love to have that just work right out of the box without any issues. GoZen Forms does allow you to use a CNAME record, so you can have your own custom domain for their tool, and you can also embed the forms right on your website, whether it is WordPress or any other CMS. They do have a WordPress plugin, however, and that is a very nice touch. Let's jump over to the comments before I give you my final score. Here is Raise2511, who says, "For you, everything is a great LTD. Ha 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 ha." No, I disagree. I'm pretty conservative when it comes to doling out compliments to software. I really feel like software is disposable these days. That's why I don't mind investing in lifetime deals, because all software is basically becoming the same thing. A form tool, then another form tool, then another form tool. Back in the early 2010-ish, it was really rare to find a form tool. It was like Typeform, and then that was basically it. If one hit AppSumo, it was amazing. Now it's just another Tuesday. So while I think GoZen Forms is very interesting, I don't really pledge my allegiance so much to a software developer anymore. I'm more interested in actually getting work done. So if I find a tool that is good, I want to let people know about it. Raj over here asks, do you keep a list of all of the tools you review and the scores? Yes, we definitely do. clientamp.com/posts. You'll find all of the reviews over there with the scores, and it's even searchable across our site. So definitely head over to clientamp.com to check out the full-length articles for every video that is posted. Dr. AI Artist says, "Hi Dave, very good video, but in this case, you forgot the quizzes, which I'm most interested in, 11. I am sorry, Dr. AI. Don't have time for absolutely every feature inside of this tool. It was already a pretty long video, but I think the quizzes are fairly comprehensive and similar to what you might have seen in the actual forms. You just have the ability to score them in the tabs. So yeah, that really is the only issue. It's not like a brand new interface for making quizzes. So I just checked, and there is a help doc on GoZen Forms on exactly how to create quizzes, and it is that scoring field I briefly mentioned in my video. So you'll just go and create the form the usual way, and then inside of the editor, you can actually assign points to each individual answer. I'll link to this in the description of this video, so you can actually check it out if you want to see more about creating quizzes using GoZen Forms. And one last question on GoZen Forms from Mo over here. He wants to know, can GoZen Forms make signatures? And yes, there is a signature field. I did briefly mention that in my video, but if you blinked, you would have missed it. There's definitely a signature option as you're actually building out the form. Overall, I thought GoZen Forms was quite good, but it's not absolutely a slam dunk deal. If you do need a form builder right now, I believe it to be one of the highest, if not the best lifetime deals currently available at a 6.8 out of 10. I definitely would pick it up if I needed something in a pinch, but definitely don't collect these things. Wait till you need to use them. Up next is Ranklytics. This is a SEO content generation and analysis tool. I actually liked it quite a bit more for the analysis than I did the content generation, but I'm not a big fan of purely AI generated content anyway, so take that with a grain of salt. Essentially, what Ranklytics will do for you is help you research keywords. Then it will help you generate ideas for content. It'll actually write a full AI article, and then you can even publish it without having to do anything right over to WordPress. It's fairly impressive. If you get the right AppSumo tier, you can even have that be on autopilot. So it'll just publish like 6 or 10 articles per month, and you don't have to even look at the articles. I'm not quite ready for that yet, but perhaps, and in fact, I know some of you are already doing similar things. Overall, Ranklytics is a fairly comprehensive set of SEO tools. It can do everything from a technical SEO audit, it could audit existing content, and even do a content gap analysis by providing your competitors and then listing out some keywords they might be ranking for, which you might want to compete with them on. My only real qualm with Ranklytics was the keyword research interface. It could drastically be improved to help you bubble up keywords that you could rank for. So maybe it could use AI to show you keywords with high search volume, but maybe a medium or low difficulty level, kind of depending on where you're starting from. It'd be nice to filter those two metrics to find the certain keywords that you have the best shot at. JChambo86 says, one thing I've noticed with this tool is the links in the articles almost always have issues. Links to dead pages, wrong products, websites, and more. Also, it overdoes it by a lot with quotes, which also always almost have issues. I did not find it that great as an AI article writer. And you know what? I tend to agree, not necessarily that I had issues with the links or the quotes, but just the fact that I probably would not use it as my primary content writing mechanism. If I'm going to write an article based on AI or utilizing it as the primary writing source, I'm probably going to use Claude for that still at this point. That'll be dated within a month, I'm sure. But right now, Claude is the go-to in my opinion. But I wasn't unimpressed with the articles on Ranklytics. They just didn't quite hold up and they don't necessarily fit into my workflow either. So I'm a little bit biased. I don't want AI to just write an article based on a keyword. Now, despite those comments on the AI content writer, I still think Ranklytics is great. I ended up giving it an 8.2 out of 10. All of the other tools combined make it a very, very valuable investment, considering that most SEO tools will literally cost you an arm and a leg. You're gonna get a heck of a lot. So especially if you're a small business or just getting started with SEO, you can go very far with Ranklytics. Definitely consider checking it out if you want to dip your toes into SEO. If you're a full-time SEO expert, you're probably not even watching this review, and you're not going to consider dumping SEMrush or Ahrefs in order to pick up Ranklytics. It's not that good, but for the rest of us that don't have thousands of dollars, it is pretty good. The last tool of this week is called Notch. This is a document creation and signing platform. It combines features of Google Docs, Notion, and DocuSign so that you can create documents, share them, and obviously get them signed, close more deals, sign proposals, all that good stuff. Now, Notch in theory sounds pretty similar to Legitt, but in execution, it could not be more different. Notch is extremely user-friendly, very simple to use, and build out nice looking documents right inside of Notch, whereas with Legitt, I probably would just always upload my documents. I do have to point out there was a little bit of a learning curve with getting started with Notch. They have just a very interesting organizational structure, and this concept of spaces took me a moment to get used to, but once I did, it made a ton of sense, and I like it quite a bit. The document creation is very flexible, where there's lots of elements and different layouts that are very easy to pull up and execute. And once you really nail something, you can save it as a template and then easily iterate upon that for future clients or proposals, be able to create fresh documents in a hurry. Over in the comments, David asks if I can comment on Notch versus Super OK versus Kitchen. Well, I will say that Super OK, at least I've not tried Kitchen. Super OK is focused more on a client portal experience, whereas Notch is really focused on documents and document signing. Now, there is some leeway there because you could kind of hack together a client portal inside of Notch, but I don't necessarily recommend it. It's going to eventually lack features that you want, like a login system for your clients. So definitely stick to Notch for the documents, document creation, and then you could literally just link to those inside of your client portal, which if you're using Super OK, that's going to be an amazing combination. Your clients will think you are a software genius. Heavy D007 asks, how does it compare to BunnyDoc? Better. Well, I've not actually used BunnyDoc, but I did look into it a little bit, and BunnyDoc looks very much like a conventional document signing tool where you take a PDF, you upload that PDF, you mark on it where you want a signature, and then you can send it out to your users. And Notch does not work that way at all. Instead, you actually create the document right inside of Notch, add the signature fields, and then share it that way. I like Notch's approach, but I still see the use case for having a more traditional document signing, especially if you're a business that's been around a while and you've got a bunch of PDFs in existence. You might not feel like going and redoing them all inside of Notch. So for that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend BunnyDoc, although like I said, I haven't tried it. The one tool I would recommend is BreezeDoc from the AppSumo team. I use BreezeDoc every single month and I really enjoy it. It's never let me down. Very solid tool from the AppSumo team. Definitely check out BreezeDoc. I've got a full video on that one as well. I think it would work very nicely in tandem with something like Notch. Abdicted ID2NB mentions that it's a really solid tool from a privacy and legal point of view, but there is one main gripe he has, and that is the fact that there is no automation after a fully signed doc. That is one of his most important automation triggers. And I think this is a very smart thing to bring up. And it is true, there is no automations that you can have fire off currently after a document is signed. Now, friends don't let friends buy roadmaps. However, they are planning to add additional integrations with things like Zapier, Make, Zoho, and even have an API component. So make sure if you are considering Notch, you buy the tier that is high enough up that you actually get the integrations, because the base level one did not come with integrations. You got to look for the Salesforce, HubSpot, and Slack integrations that are currently available right now. Even if you don't use any of those tools, go for that plan so that in the future, you'll get all of the additional integrations. Speaking of roadmaps, Sean Buckingham wants to know, if you have another team member, can you restrict what they see in terms of what they've made? So the idea here might be that you have, let's say, a client A, and you want to assign your worker to work with client A, but you don't want the worker to see any of the other shared documents. Well, unfortunately, right now, there is no role-based or permission-based setup. However, right inside of the tool itself, it does have a little tooltip saying that that is coming soon. So apparently, that is one of the most prominent or most focused on roadmap items. Overall, Notch is one of my favorite lifetime deals I have reviewed in some time, and it doesn't even have AI in the name. I ended up giving Notch an 8.8 out of 10. Highly recommend checking it out if you're in the need for document creation, particularly for clients. Now, it's going to be an absolute slam dunk once it gets those additional integrations. So fingers crossed that this one holds on and actually fulfills that roadmap. That's going to do it for this edition of the Taco Truck Roundup. Make sure you click the links in the description to help support the channel. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Visit me over at clientamp.com, and I'll see you in the next review.